The energy that I felt last June at the Xbox Games Showcase was one of the most memorable moments I had in LA. Sitting in a theater in the heart of downtown Los Angeles to watch Xbox deliver its most exciting presentation in ages was energizing. While the last two Doom games heavily focused on mobility and frenetic encounters with demon hordes of all sizes, Doom the Dark Ages moves the series in a new direction. One that might alienate some players, it ultimately feels like a great pivot after the highs of Eternal. The prequel to both the 2016 game and its predecessor is different in some fascinating ways. Once you've climbed the mountain, you can only do so much to get down, and the Dark Ages intends to leave a destruction trail on its way. The opening hours in Doom the Dark Ages show how feared the Doomslayer is now that he's working for the Makers and Knight Sentinels. The Dark Ages takes the Doomslayer back to the beginning. As a prequel, we're visiting in a different point, where the Knight Sentinels are in a brutal war against the demons of hell and Prince Azrak, who intends to rule Argent Nur. Rather than fighting to save Earth, Doomslayer is now a tool used to beck and call of the Makers. Many early scenes depict how terrified the residents are of Doomslayer. He's used to deliver pain and torment to the demons of hell with little else. Even the people of Argent refer to Doomslayer as an outlander. He also became associated with the Knight Sentinels, the region's militia force during this period. The game presents the Slayer in a manner that suggests he's being controlled and only being unleashed to confront demons when deemed appropriate. Later on, as we learn repeatedly that everybody in this universe is a dick, especially the Makers, their control over Doomslayer begins to crumble and the tether they've put on him begins to fail. Previous Doom games focused on maneuvering through arenas at breakneck speed, ripping and tearing at demons to save the world. The Dark Ages does things a little differently, moving from run, gun, and jump setup to something more grounded, brutal, and fun. A lot of the marketing mentions you must stand and fight the demons. New tools like the shield saw are introduced early on and shake up the formula by adding new ways to tackle onslaughts of enemies. Within minutes, you're facing off waves of demons invading Argent and these open hub areas. There are dozens of enemies on screen, and often you're left using your entire arsenal to deliver massive damage to forces of evil. The shield saw is probably one of my favorite additions because its versatility and how it defeats enemies. Either throwing it to cut apart enemies or parrying incoming attacks to counter, the loop never gets old. Some enemies are cannon fodder and go down in one hit. Others have shields and you must destroy them before even touching their health pool. When you finally encounter an enemy worth being down by the Slayer, though, it's always one of the most satisfying things happening on screen. You must change your strategy for different enemy types as well, so be ready to swap weapons continually. You can easily press RB to swap between your most recent weapons or hold for the weapon wheel. There are some abilities with cooldowns, but you're so caught up in cycling through your abilities and weapons that you forget there's even a cooldown there. Most enemies are also color-coded to let you know what to prepare for. If it's red, move around. If it's green, parry with your shield. If you see green waves coming at you, you'll want to parry and follow it up with a blast from your shotgun. For those looking for a challenge, a lot of customization is available from the outset. You can customize the HUD, colors of attacks, the parry windows, and many other mechanics to fit how you want to play. If you choose to up the difficulty, you can even play to have the game delete your save if you die. Levels are much more open and less linear, like Doom 2016 and Eternal. At first I was confused because the opening few stages were pretty cut and dry with a few beaten paths to explore, but later on things begin to open up far more than I anticipated. On some levels I'd strafe one way and discover a secret area that led to a secret boss, and others I'd move through a hidden area to find a collectible, a whole ton of gold, and upgrades. Every stage also has a side quest to complete, like finding the cultists and killing them, finding all the hidden gold, or finding hidden landing pads. These generally upgrade all your stats, so searching for them is the first thing I search for in each of the 22 chapters. Health, shields, and weapon upgrades are usually tied to defeating bosses. There are also sentinel shrines throughout each level where you can upgrade saw shield abilities, like retaliation, adding a larger shockwave for your parry, or extended edge, which reaches further against fodder demons. Even the power gauntlet, which can be used to combo demons, lets you deal more damage on a successful parry and earn back health, shields, and even ammo. Weapons like the Pulverizer, a rapid assault weapon that uses literal skulls to blast shards of bone at enemies, while the Reaver's Shot uses a charged metallic ball attached to a chain to deal heavy damage to enemies. My favorite weapon is a classic combat shotgun, though, and its super shotgun form, which I kept on a constant rotation because of how much power it had. But I can't find one weapon I skipped over because every single one has uses that you can discover. To shake things up and keep things fresh, you'll battle enemies in morale encounters. These are generally challenging battles that will test all you've mastered up to that point. These are some of my favorite encounters to come across. Usually, they have a leader demon shielded from all the incoming damage until morale is diminished and the meter is empty. Your only option is to blast and strike enemies continually until the leader remains. Once his shield is down, you can then vanquish him. In a first for the series, Doom the Dark Ages introduces 2 new ways to fight hordes of demons. The first is a massive battle mech, Atlan, a sentinel weapon used to kill the titans and demons. You get into the mech early, and while it's a ton of fun, it's slower than anything else in the Dark Ages. Atlan can deliver fatal blows to demons, and throwing punches is fun, but somewhat limited. The gameplay loop is pretty simple because you're generally told to parry over dodging, so when you see a green flash, you know it's about time to move out of the way. A perfect dodge paves the way for a swift counterattack, which can be devastating if you nail it, and while this is a fun kaiju fantasy simulator, it's actually my least favorite part of the new ways to fight these enemies. However, it still is pretty cool seeing how destructible the environment is, as in Atlan with buildings, bridges, military bases crumbling around you as you move to fight demons coming your way. If anything, Dragon Seret is my favorite addition to Doom the Dark Ages. You gain access it to early on and complete the dedicated chapters. The first time Seret appears, you're maneuvering and blasting through a massive floating city where demons are invading at every wall and choke point. Flying through an active war zone on the back of a cyber dragon is immensely cool. Alongside that, you fly through the entire area, clearing out invading warships and breathing fire at demons' throats like Godzilla. I only wish there was more of it to be available because it's such a fun way to blast at everything in sight. All in all, Doom the Dark Ages bridges old and new, delivering an exciting campaign to stand and fight against the demons of hell. It's much more focused than its predecessors and more fun because id's ability to continually refine the Doom formula to feel different enough that it never gets boring. Between new weapons and skills, the Doom Slayer is a remarkable character, only held back by how little we know of him. He's been given the tool to save the world that's actively trying to quell his freedom, and somehow, it's that notion which leads him down the path that bridges the older games to the new ones. Doom the Dark Ages gets a 9 out of 10.